Hi, I'm Jeff Brazil with the University of Arkansas. In this recorded information session, you will hear Eve Canty from Global Campus to talk about the PMP learning system for the PMP exam preparation. Great stuff, and remember, go Hogs!
Today, I have the pleasure of talking about the PMP exam prep course. So we are going to talk a little bit about the value of the certification and what can this do for you in your career? What does a project manager need to know in order to get this certification? How this course will help you prepare to succeed? Why this is a worthwhile investment in your project management career? And then, of course, we will have time available at the end if there's any questions from the live session or anything that came in advance. Be happy to answer those questions. So, why get a PMP certification? The main benefit is that it proves that you are truly committed to professional development in the project management field. Many of us kind of found our way into project management. Maybe we didn't have a formal education in project management. And this is a way to show that not only do you have that work experience, you have the foundational formal knowledge in it as well. It also shows your employer that you can meet a very rigorous set of prerequisites. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a couple of slides. And it gives you an opportunity to build the foundational knowledge and skills to transfer from one type of project to another. So, most of my project experience is in consulting or higher education, but because of the PMP training that I went through myself, I felt a lot more confident going into a technology implementation project, knowing that I had kind of those skills that are really transferable that I could build on. Another benefit is that it quite frankly separates you from uncertified peers and colleagues. If you have those three little letters after your name, PMP, that will tell any employer, current or future, at a glance what you bring to the table, and is a great way to vouch for the skills that you have. So PMP specifically is the gold standard of project management certification. Not only are they globally applicable and universally recognized, they have a huge brand presence, right? They have more than 1.5 million PMP credential holders across the world. It's a large membership group that you can rely on if you need a peer network to help you with the project that you're leading. They have great resources and templates available. And it can also help you negotiate for a higher salary for yourself. Some recent research that PMI conducted showed that PMP certification holders actually increased their earning potential by, on average, up to 33% within the year that they got that certification. So, of course, your mileage may vary, but it's such a well-known, well-recognized certification that it does give people quite a bit to talk to their employer about when it's bonus or raise time. So what's required to get the certification? We've talked a lot about, why is this, worthwhile? Well, what does it take to get there? So there are education and experience requirements that I'll go into in more depth on the next slide. You also have to agree to a professional code of conduct. As a project manager, you have a lot of responsibilities, not only for the resources and the time that your company or organization has committed to the project. You also have responsibilities to your team and how you can lead them in an ethical way. And then the third bullet there, pass the PMP exam, sounds straightforward. We'll talk a little bit more about what goes into that as well. So I'm going to give you the high level. You can go into more detail on the PMI website. That's the most thorough and up-to-date information, but here's the highlights of what you need to be eligible for certification. So there's two different tracks. The first track is for those who have a high school diploma, a secondary degree, think an associate's degree. If that is your situation, then you would need 5 years of project management experience. That is something that you would type up in the PMI system. You would document the type of project, the budget of the project, what your responsibilities were for the project, and you would do that until you got to at least a 5-year period. of demonstrable project management experience. Then you also need to confirm that you have 35 hours of project management training. That's where this course comes into play. We'll talk about the schedule a little bit, but it would help you meet that requirement. The second track is if you have a bachelor's degree. Then you would need only 3 years of project management experience. Again, you'll type up quite a bit of detail, submit that with your application. PMI checks that and confirms it. And then assuming you also have your 35 hours of project management education, you receive your ticket to go ahead and schedule your test session. Now there's an asterisk after the number 3 there, because depending on your bachelor's degree specifics, you may only need 2 years of experience. Again, that's the type of information that you could get more in depth on the PMI website. So talking now, what is on the test itself? So the test is aligned with the PMP ECO. If you don't know already, there is quite a lot of jargon and abbreviations in project management world. And so the exam content outline contains these 3 domains: people, process, and business environment. So the people domain, that's almost half of the test. That includes topics like managing conflict, building and leading a team, supporting team performance, empowering your team. The process domain, that's a full 50%. That's, maybe some of the more stereotypical project management topics: managing risk, building a budget, your resources, your schedule, your timelines, quality, scope, project structure, documentation, things of that nature. Finally, we have the business environment, small but mighty 8% there. These are things like ensuring that your project is in compliance with laws and regulations, delivering the benefit and the value of the project, and supporting organizational change as that project goes from a change management into a day-to-day operations. Okay. Assuming no questions have come in, I will go ahead and talk a little bit more about the certification exam by the numbers. So you understand a little bit about what's on the test. How is that test going to look? It's 180 multiple choice questions. It's a 230-minute time limit. There are some breaks in there. And you have the option. You can take the test on site at a Pearson VUE testing center, or you can do an online proctored test at your home or office. They monitor you on a webcam, so it's fully secure and verified. But you have those 2 options depending on what's best for your situation. We talked a little bit about the information that you need to submit in order to be deemed eligible to take the test. So then from that point, that starts a timer. You have 1 year to actually go ahead and schedule and take your test at that point. We'll talk more about how our class helps you prepare. I fully believe that anyone who goes through our course, dedicates the adequate time to study, will pass it on the first attempt. But if you wake up on the wrong side of the bed or something goes awry, you would have 3 opportunities to test within a 1 year period. You can't test right away. You can't test 12 times in a year until you get it. You have those 3 choices. Okay, so how do we help you prepare to succeed? How is this course going to help you pass this test? So it's based on these 3 prongs here. You have the right content and tools, you have opportunities for practice and feedback, and finally, you're not on your own. You'll have expert guidance and instruction along the way. So one of the tools for success is the learning system. The CertWise learning system is based on the PMBOK guide, the most up-to-date 7th edition. You will have both access to online and printed materials. We mail you the books, and you can access the online materials kind of on demand. And I know personally, when I was studying for the PMP, having that book that I could go through and read what I needed to read, I mentioned the terminology and all of the acronyms, it's almost like learning another language in some regards. Most people off the street don't think about what is a work breakdown structure, what is a burn down chart, and so this will help fill in any gaps that you may have in your knowledge to get you where you need to be to pass the test. You can also check your understanding with practice questions. It's presented in a concise, easy to understand format. And it's fully aligned with the PMP ECO so that what you are studying is what you're going to be tested on, and you have a chance to practice in advance. I personally found the practice exams to be some of the most helpful. It's a big financial commitment to take, not only to take these classes, but to take the test itself. And so I wanted to be sure when I got there on test day that I would be ready. So I took a lot of practice exams. Personally, that's what I found the most useful, but everyone's learning style is different. And so you can really personalize your study plan to the specific domains and tasks within the ECO that you need the most reassurance in, or the most review of, and really personalize your study plan that way. You'll have quizzes, flashcards, progress reports, resource center, everything that you might need to really learn what you need to learn and feel confident on exam day. So the second piece, expert guidance. You will have opportunities for one-on-one guidance and support from experienced project management practitioners. One of the other benefits of a course is that you're not all by yourself. If you have questions, you can ask a peer, you can network, collaborate, and those are relationships that you can carry with you, not just through this learning experience and test experience, but beyond that into your career as well. The structured course, not everyone needs that, but it benefits a lot of people. If you know that you are accountable to come to class, you are accountable to study. I found that very helpful in the course that I took, that I knew I had a reading schedule that I had to meet so that I would be ready for class. So our instructor, Tamisha, is a PMP holder herself. She has over 20 years of experience as an educator and project manager. That spans lots of different industries. So depending on, your background, I think Tamisha will be able to help you move forward in your career and your test prep, kind of regardless of your background and where you're coming from.
I did get a question here that came in via email.
Yeah.
With this, the potential student asks, with those classes being on Thursday, if there happens to be where they had to miss a class, could they still go back and watch those recordings of that teaching?
Yeah, that's a great question, Jeff. And so, this is an instructor-led class. The instructor, can ultimately make their choices, but our typical procedure is that if somebody has to miss, if they let the instructor know in advance, we do often record the classes so that they are there and you can catch up. It's a long class, and so if there's something that comes up, we'll help you catch up.
All right, that's fantastic, because sometimes things happen, things pop up. So that's
Yeah,
great.
busy professionals who've got to roll with the
That's
punches.
right. That's right. We also had another question somebody asked about: how soon should you take the test after the prep course? What is the recommended time on that?
My recommendation is is as soon as you feel ready, but very soon. It's a lot of information to keep in your mind. The way that I personally approached this was that I did a study course. I got ready. I kind of knew, okay, here's my gaps. I need, maybe another month after the course ended, but I had that test date scheduled, and that helped keep me on track and kept the information at the front of my mind. It was right before Christmas, so I kind of knew if I don't get this done, I'm really going to be in trouble. So yeah, I think as a project manager, you are used to working with deadlines. I would highly recommend that you do it quickly, but you have a scheduled specific date.
That's great. I'm sure that would equal a higher success rate too, to take it right afterwards.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, you'll have the material, you'll be able to reference it, but there's no reason to wait. So Lauren's asking, if you don't have the years of experience for a PMP yet, would this help with the CAPM prep? I would say yes. The principles of project management are applicable across the different certifications that PMI offers. I would also say there's a lot of great resources online, a lot of different forums, Reddit, others, where people were talking about, how do you write up your experience? What do you need to include? Project manager does not need to be in your title. For most of the experience that I submitted, it was not in my title. I was a consultant. I was, this and that, other types of operational roles, but I was leading projects. And so, only you will know if the experience that you have is applicable. But I would say just maybe read a little bit about that and don't sell yourself short.
Awesome. That's great advice. If there's not any more questions, we just want to thank everyone for attending today. We're very thankful. We think that this course is really going to help you be successful and help lead you to getting that certificate. We're very excited about it, but you can always reach us, like Eve said, at training.uark.edu, and they will get back to you if any questions that you have. So thanks for attending. Have a good day.
Take care. Bye.